Attorneys, let's keep it objective.
Well, welcome to the next episode. I am Dr. Mark Kosman, your co-host. Your host is right here, Mr. Robert Graff, attorney and attorney coach at graffstandard.com. So what is it that we are keeping objective here today, Rob?
Analysis. We are keeping objective analysis of a case. What happens is if you doubt your ability to analyze a case will be colored as such. So it's important to remember to keep your analysis objective.
Isn't that the famous Henry Ford quote, if you believe you can or if you believe you can't, either way you're right? So yeah, I mean, absolutely. So let's break it down to some specifics here. What are we going to cover in this episode?
First, we're going to cover that you should treat it like practice when reviewing a case, especially in the beginning. Again, it's asking for help, asking a colleague to review the case with you. And it's to know that as you learn more, your view will actually change. And when you learn more about that case is what I'm saying.
All right. Well, let's dig in and work our way through those and talk a little bit about being objective because, we're not very objective, are we? I mean, we are pretty subjective creatures. So what do you mean when you say treat it like practice? I mean, isn't every case serious? I mean, how can I treat it like practice?
Well, if you release that mindset that this is a serious case, that this is something that I don't want to screw up for the client, that this is something that I want to make sure that I'm doing right, your view is going to be colored by whatever lens you're using to view that case. I always like to say that if it's sunny outside or if it's cloudy outside, if you're wearing a pair of sunglasses, it's always going to be a shade darker than it would be if you're not wearing those sunglasses. So if you're looking at it as so important, as if this is the way you're going to learn, or this is what I need to do, you're going to lose your complete objectivity about a case to see whether it's a good case to take, to see what the client should do, to whether they should take the trial or whether they should settle a case.
Absolutely, because you can freak yourself out, basically, right? There's this optimal amount. A little bit of anxiety tends to actually enhance your performance. It makes you take the case seriously, but there's a line that once you cross it, it actually just starts to shut you down, and you're telling yourself, you're sending yourself those messages that make you so self-conscious that you actually start to screw things up. You start to have performance anxiety, right?
Mm-hmm. I remember one time I was dealing with another attorney that did not want to take a case to trial so bad that he basically found any reason not to take the case to trial. It wasn't a bad case, it wasn't a great case, but he convinced himself that it was not a great case to take the trial because of his fear of actually taking the case. It wasn't the client's issue, it was his.
Well, that's an interesting point, Rob. It does make you wonder how many, sort of questionable settlements come out of real anxiety more than that being the best outcome for the case. I don't know. I guess that happens, right?
It does. It happens more often than you'd expect. It happens more often than someone would want to hear. And that's really what I'm trying to help with, is help people not have to take that settlement by releasing some of that fear, releasing that anxiety about the case. And when you view a case completely objectively, you can make an objective view and do better risk analysis and do better witness review or witness understanding a witness in a case, basically, so that you can go forward and know how strong of a case or how weak of a case you have.
Well, which kind of brings us to your second real